Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you about the health effects and concerns of the 36 egg a day diet. So basically, I had done this with 10 eggs, okay, and I put out 2 videos on that yesterday. One of which I explicitly referenced the 36 egg a day results that I had, because that's how people know the diet, and that's marketing. And I had also put one out on the best mass gainer and basically, applying the cost analysis with multiple eggs a day, like 10 eggs compared to a mass gainer, and the protein, the types of other nutrients in there, break all that down. But for this video, I want to make it about the health, because in the video about the mass gainer approach, where I talk about basically everything you'd want to be concerned about from the cholesterol perspective, everything you want to be concerned about from every other nutritional aspect, that is covered in that video. So I'm basically rehashing that video, and because I chose to present it in the way of comparing it to mass gainers, it's not hitting the audience I want it to hit. And I want this video to inform people on not necessarily that you have to have 10 eggs a day, or 36 for that matter, but just the fact that you shouldn't fear them, and you shouldn't fear them as a muscle building food, because as I always say on my page, a lot more people are afraid of 10 eggs a day than they are 10 Oreos a day. And I just want to change that perception and put out the positive information regarding, of course, the safety concerns, but mainly the health benefits that can come, especially if you get high quality eggs that are much higher in nutritional content, much lower and devoid of GMO crops you don't want, and all the associated things that come with that. So basically, this video is a rehash of, the first one I had made on mass gaining comparison, but it's such a dense video on so many informational topics that I really think you'll enjoy it, and it's going to hit the mark, no doubt, and you're going to learn a lot about the health effects of eggs by watching this video.
It's a new episode.
Not exactly. They pieced it together from old shows, and it seems new to the trusting eyes of impressionable youth.
Really?
Ren and Stimpy do it all the time.
The ingredient for the most effective mass gainer is raw eggs. Okay, that's going to sound crazy, and I'm going to get into the health benefits, the health concerns if there are any, and I'll talk about the cholesterol, I'll talk about the salmonella, all that later on in this video. This is going to be a long video, and you probably already knew that because you clicked on it and you saw how long it was. So I'm going to talk about the muscle building stuff first, and then the safety concerns afterwards, if there are any. So let's get into the efficacy of this I'll get into the background before I get into how effective this is. The background, okay? I had heard about this, and I've tried it myself. I had heard about this from a golden era bodybuilding trainer called Vince Gironda. And if you're unfamiliar with Vince Gironda, he basically trained all the golden era guys. He trained Arnold, he trained movie stars, he trained Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone from Rocky. And this guy was not only a genius, but he was very strict. And if you didn't follow what he said, he'd kick you out of his gym. So everybody followed it to a T. So we have not only, my experience in the research I'm going to throw at you, but we have this foundation of, golden era bodybuilding as a whole and golden era nutrition as a great point of reference for us to view how effective large egg consumption can be on muscle building. So that is the context here. That is how I got into this. And Vince Gironda had a diet for muscle building called the 36 egg a day diet. Now, that sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. So I thought to myself, I'll make a goal to have 10 eggs a day. That's my goal. And I had by far my greatest bulk results ever. This is actually my progress result picture from that last year. So I had basically done, I'm just going to leave this up here a little longer. I had basically done 3 months of bulking with 10 eggs a day, And then I had done my cut where I had added more fat in order to lose it all to make another video for this page. So I had done the 3 months of 10 eggs a day, and by far my greatest results ever. And some of you might have seen I had a video from a couple years ago about how I had done a 3-month bulk with every supplement out there, and 10 egg a day bulk absolutely blew that away. So for starters, I have compared mass gainer bulk with egg shake bulk, and I sell supplements. I've seen every mass gainer out there. I know a lot of them from top to bottom. So that is I'm going to compare the two, but I'm going to get into more of the breakdown. Okay, what is the primary muscle building effects of the raw egg shake? So let's get into dosing first, okay? 10 eggs a day is my dose. You could do more. If you want to watch a great video on the 36 egg a day bulk, you can watch a video from my friend Carlos at Golden Era Bookworm on YouTube. He has the best video on that topic if you're interested in the 36 egg a day diet and what it actually entailed. But for this video's sake, not everybody's trying to have 3 dozen eggs a day. And I'm going to talk about the 10 egg a day approach, or any sort of realistic number of egg consumption, because that is what was primarily used with the Golden Era bodybuilding, and that was the bedrock of Golden Era bulking nutrition, is lots of quality protein sources, being lots of eggs, lots of meat, etc. That was the bedrock of it, and lots of high quality fats as well. So what makes the difference between an egg shake and a mass gaining shake, right? A lot of people probably know, Mutant Mass or these other big names, and they have so many calories, 1,000 calories, right? Serious Mass, all these products. And typically what you'll see is a large amount of carb and protein, small amount of fat. With the eggs, you have a large amount of protein and fat, minimal carb. And if we isolate for 700 calories, which is around where 10 eggs a day will be, and you compare a mass gainer at 700 calories compared to egg shake, essentially you'll have more protein from the eggs and you'll have way more carb and sugar from the mass gainer. I'm going to give mass gainers the benefit of the doubt, because even though there are some that are better than others, typically a lot of these mass gainers will do a little tricks here and there to not fool the user into seeing more gains, but they'll add to the illusion of better results. So that being, they jack it up with carbs, because not only is that has a higher likelihood to jack up your insulin and cause fat storage, but you'll retain more water. And also they jack up the sodium and electrolytes so that you retain more water again, giving the illusion that the scale is going up more each week. So that is one side of the coin with mass gainer products. And like I said, there are better ones. There's ones that throw in other supplements in there, BCAAs, creatine, that can have much better effects, and it can be an easy way to get great results. But when we're talking about lean muscle gain, you got more protein in the eggs, and you got way more carbs and calories in the mass gainer. With the egg shake, okay, part of the reason that it's not just about the quantity of protein is it's about the quality of protein. Eggs have all 21 essential amino acids, all 21 amino acids in general in the eggs in the appropriate ratios. Now, they also have the cholesterol profile, which is going to be beneficial to your health. And one of the reasons Vince Gironda theorized that the 36 egg a day bulk was better than a steroid cycle, because that's what he actually theorized, was that, of course, you have the perfect profile of protein, amino acids, but you also have the healthy cholesterol, which is going to be a great building block, because cholesterol is a precursor to all your hormones, but predominantly testosterone. So that was the gist of his theory of 36 eggs a day being so comparable to a steroid cycle. Now, when we're looking at the breakdown of the macros, okay, we have the perfect protein ratios, the perfect protein profile. Not every mass gainer is going to have this. They'll have the quantity, right? They could have, depending on where you get the protein sourced from, it might not have all the amino acids in the appropriate ratios. And there are some that are more important than others. Example, leucine. Leucine is capable of stimulating muscle growth on its own. And some of these mass gainers can be fortified with higher doses of leucine, but that'll probably come with a higher cost, and it probably won't be sourced from the same primary ingredient, whether it's pea protein or whey protein, whatever it is, even the more complete processed protein sources. So with eggs, you're getting a very high dose. Eggs also come with, to me, this is the big reason why they're so effective. They have the fat-soluble vitamins, and additionally, they have other antioxidants, which are going to be beneficial to your health. But the fat-soluble vitamins and all the nutrition in the yolk is key. A lot of people try to throw out the yolk, and they just have the white, because it's the protein. All of the benefits of the raw eggs come from the yolk. So don't throw out the yolk, or else you're wasting your time and your money. And you're also wasting, this egg, okay? Which could have been consumed by somebody. So we have plenty of antioxidants in the eggs. Lutein, zeaxanthin, things that are great for your eye health, your brain health, like choline, which is a B vitamin. And people actually supplement. If you see my nootropic videos, they supplement with choline reuptake inhibitors or acetylcholine primers, because what choline will do is allow you to have better brain function. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter, which you need choline in order to produce. And eggs have a large amount of this. It's like if you had to choose one food to eat entirely for your life, it would be eggs. And that is why I eat so many damn eggs, if you know me. So back to the fat-soluble vitamins in the yolk. A, E, D, and K. Vitamins A, E, D, and K are the fat-soluble vitamins. And it's very hard to get them from other dietary sources. You can't get them from any processed foods. You can't get them from grains or plant foods. And in general, your body is very dependent on these 4 vitamins. For even vitamin D's sake, vitamin D, I always say, is like a hormone. And vitamin D3 is the most bioavailable source. And you need to have these vitamins combined with fat and cholesterol in order for your body to use them appropriately, which is why you can't just supplement with vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 and have 20 grams of fat a day and expect to get much result. You need to have the fat in your stomach and the fatty acids in order to appropriately use these vitamins, and eggs come packaged with that already. So they have the perfect profile of fat, which I'll get into more so in a moment, the perfect profile of nutrients, which are the hardest ones to get, and the perfect profile of proteins, okay? And also, they're very easy to eat in a shake. You can drop a couple raw eggs into a cup, Rocky style, or you can put them into a protein shake, and overall, you can jack up your calories very easily that way. When we talk about the cost analysis of this, right? You have your typical mass gainer over here, and you have a dozen eggs over here. A dozen eggs, depending where you live, is going to be a couple bucks. Okay, let's call it average $3, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending where you live. I think a good estimate is $3. With a mass gainer, every serving is going to be probably closer to $5 because these bags, unless you buy the huge bulk bags, which are going to be a lot up front, you're essentially going to struggle to get a better unit price than with a dozen eggs for 10 eggs a day. Of course, 36 eggs a day would be more cost, would be a harder cost to match, but you could always get the 30 packs of eggs, etc. I would like to stress that quality of the eggs is important, and even though you can do this with regular Walmart eggs, it'd be much better and much more advisable for your health to do this from farmers market eggs, pasture raised eggs, okay? Because when an animal eats its natural diet, it will convert the plant vitamin precursors into the appropriate fat-soluble vitamins in its flesh. And when you go to the Walmart eggs, they're probably fed GMOs, soy, corn, and for a lot of people, they may have intolerances to those things, and it may change the omega profile of the fats to more inflammatory, omega-6 fats, depending on what the chicken was fed. So try to get better quality eggs, especially if you're consuming so many. Of course, it's going to be more expensive, but this is your health, and this is basically a multivitamin packed into your mass gainer, okay? So keep that in mind and try to aim for better quality eggs. Now, with the consideration of cost again, right? When we're looking at the mass gainer, it's not going to be any cheaper than a dozen eggs. when we're looking at the benefits of the eggs, you have the multivitamin in there, basically, of the fat-soluble vitamins, several B vitamins, and antioxidants. You also have the perfect profile of protein. So let's get to the fats, the cholesterol. A lot of people are afraid of the fats in eggs. And this is mind-boggling to me because I used to believe it too, back in the day. I always say on my page, and I haven't said this in a while, that the food industry would like you to be more afraid of 10 eggs than 10 Oreos. And sometimes, depending on which brand of mass gainer, you're basically getting whey protein plus more than 10 Oreos as the carb source, okay? Just straight sugar. High glycemic sugar too, maltodextrin at that. So, essentially, this is going to jack up your blood sugar, your blood insulin. You got to be careful with this because you could have a higher propensity to gain weight. And anybody who says calories are the only thing that matter, quantity of protein is the only thing that matter, is completely ignoring quality. They're ignoring quality of proteins. They're ignoring quality of calories, because I guarantee you 200 grams of straight sugar is going to make you a lot hungrier and jack up your insulin a lot more than 200 grams of fat, okay? Or protein, which I wouldn't advise anybody to eat in one sitting, but you get the point. So let's go to the fats in eggs, okay? We have the cholesterol is a concern, but not really actually. Eggs and their cholesterol is going to raise your HDL cholesterol slightly. I don't even know I think it has a neutral effect actually on your overall cholesterol, but studies have shown that it can slightly increase HDL, which is commonly referred to as the good cholesterol. And what it will have a benefit on is your large density LDL. So what does that mean? People refer to LDL as the bad cholesterol, but large density LDL is the type of cholesterol that you want to have flowing through your blood. It's the small density LDL that is the problem. That is the type that actually can clog your arteries and cause hardening. So small density is typically created, small density LDL, typically created through large amounts of sugar and inflammatory foods. Some people refer to cholesterol as, having high HDL and low triglycerides is a good way to assess if you have a healthy cholesterol profile. But overall, anything from eggs is going to, if anything, positively influence your HDL, which is the cholesterol going to your liver, and positively influence the large density LDL, which is going through your bloodstream, carrying the cholesterol. And another thing too, people don't know the benefits of LDL cholesterol are, of course, it's associated with longevity, but it can actually act as like a security guard for viruses coming into your bloodstream. Large density LDL can eliminate a lot of toxins and viruses coming in from bacteria into your bloodstream. It's like a security guard, and you would want to have better profile and better rates of large density LDL in your bloodstream. So that's the cholesterol. Now into the fats. There are a bit of almost every kind of fat in eggs. You have a little bit of monounsaturated, a little bit of polyunsaturated, and a good bit of saturated fat. And people typically refer to monounsaturated fat as the heart protective fat. You're getting a couple grams of that per egg. You're getting polyunsaturated and saturated fats, and people tend to think of polyunsaturated as the good fat and saturated as the bad fat, but that's not completely accurate. Okay, I'm not going to say it's completely wrong, because the polyunsaturated fats in eggs are not really going to be a problem for you, but the saturated fat is going to have no negative effect on your health. Saturated fat is never been found to actually be detrimental to your health. My dog wanted to leave my room there. Had to pause the video real quick. So, saturated fat has never been shown to have a problem on health. Oxidized fat is always going to be a problem. So, fat that is basically rancid from heat exposure. And these monounsaturated, polyunsaturated terms just apply to how many carbon molecules are in the chain, the fatty acid chain. And saturated fat can raise the large density LDL and raise HDL, cholesterol. The only association with saturated fat and any sort of health problem has erroneously been attributed to Ancel Keys, who was a doctor in like the 50s, I forget what decade, but Ancel Keys is basically solely responsible for the bad rap that saturated fat gets. He basically theorized that it was correlated to heart problems, And he did some studies on rabbits, and basically with those studies and some other meta studies, he would cherry pick the variable of saturated fat and saw that it was higher in consumption of people with cardiovascular issues. And he didn't isolate for other variables of like, did they smoke, what else did they eat, other variables like that, and just cherry picked saturated fat and saw that it was higher consumption in people with cardiovascular disease. This is what's commonly referred to as the cholesterol lipid hypothesis. So that is the gist, and you will probably have to read a lot of books to get into that, but if you want some other sources to learn more about the fatty acid profiles and cholesterol, look up Dave Feldman on YouTube. He is probably one of the leading sources on cholesterol. So saturated fat, if anything, is going to positively benefit your cholesterol. Of course, if you're somebody who's already on the brink of, pre-diabetic, you're overweight as it is, you have any sort of health problem as it is, or cardiovascular problem, don't do anything extreme. Don't start off with the 10 egg a day diet. Start working slow, have a couple eggs, okay? That's not going to harm you. But don't do anything crazy if you're already in a position where your health is not at risk, but is more fragile, more volatile, and sensitive, okay? So that's the fats out of the way. It has no trans fat, which is a big thing as well. Trans fats are essentially the one fat that we do know is directly problematic for your body. Essentially, the only one that isn't a problem is CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, and that is found in certain animal products. Now, trans fats, essentially what they do, especially if they're from a plant source or a grain source or something like that, they're basically going to merge with your cell walls and cause errors in, could be cell division, other problems like that. They're going to merge with your cell wall, and that's going to be very problematic for your body. You don't want that. And your cells in your body are made of fat. Your body prefers to use fat as the primary fuel source, and giving your body a great shot of good fat profile from 10 eggs a day is not going to be a problem for you. Of course, if you have problems with GMOs or other things that the chickens may have been fed, take it easy and prioritize better egg quality. But I will say that you will never see a study on grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs, causing any sort of correlation with cancer or health problems. And I had just explained the mechanisms as to why. Okay, I can't speak for all the eggs out there, all the beef out there, especially because most of it in supermarkets is not fed properly, and this is problematic for the animals. They're basically sick when they get slaughtered, and that can be a problem for you. So prioritize better quality products. But either way, the 10 egg a day approach is what I advise to try out for many people. Okay, of course, take the appropriate precautions, all that, legal disclaimer here, but this is absolutely my favorite method for bulking, and increasing my egg consumption is absolutely the way I'm going to do it every time. It's easy to throw in extra calories. You're getting a multivitamin with it, basically. You're, in one sense, I'm going to say raising your immunity to certain illnesses if over time you boost the positive cholesterol profile. But that would kind of imply that you have to already have a neutral cholesterol profile as it is. If you have a bad cholesterol profile and lots of small density LDL, and then you start throwing in these eggs, that's not necessarily going to benefit your immunity. So, how much more effective can this be? Try it out. Okay, do it Rocky style. Throw it into a protein shake. Ask me some more questions down below. When you're trying to make a decision of which mass gainer you should get, honestly, just buy another pack of eggs. That's my 2 cents. And people have asked about the 10 egg approach. I'm going to make more videos on this. It is essentially what the golden era bodybuilders would be using. We've seen how they turned out. And of course, these guys were also using performance enhancing drugs. But from what I hear, the quantities they were using of those drugs and the doses were a lot weaker. And, well, they weren't weaker, they were pharmaceutical grade, but they were lower in dose compared to what we have nowadays. So overall, we know these guys were eating large amounts of quality protein and fat. And you can actually watch my video on all golden era bodybuilders were ketogenic, and they did the keto diet basically, if you're interested in more of that. I believe that's it for this one. We got antioxidants, we covered the fat, the cholesterol, protein, golden era influence, and, you know, saturated fat isn't the villain, trans fat is the villain, how that narrative got put out there from Ansel Keys. And last thing I'll say, which I realized I had missed, I had written in big writing there, is omega-3s, okay? Especially if you can get high quality eggs, you are getting a load of quality omega-3s. Omega-3s are referred to as the anti-inflammatory fat. Not every compound that's produced from them is anti-inflammatory, but most of them that you're almost, I'm going to say, for making things simpler, almost everything that you eat from an omega-3 is going to be anti-inflammatory. Okay, a small percentage isn't going to be, but I'm just saying that for precision. Now, omega-6 is commonly referred to as the inflammatory fat. Your body needs a bit of both, and a lot of the problems in your body are going to come from inflammation or oxidative stress. And omega-3 is the antidote to this, but it's all about your ratio in your diet of omega-3 to omega-6. I always say to people, omega-3s are like the firefighters, omega-6 is the fire. When you have an injury, you need blood to clot, and you need that inflammation, right? Which isn't going to be only from omega-6, but nowadays, because we eat so much omega-6 on a whole, you can Google the numbers. Society eats, no matter where you live, mostly more omega-6 than omega-3 by a massive, massive scale. And omega-3s is going to be very beneficial for your health on an inflammatory level, in addition to all the other vitamins that come packed into these eggs, all the other quality essential amino acids that come in the eggs, okay? And the immunity benefits or the cholesterol benefiting benefits that come from this, especially if you get quality pasture-raised eggs, which you might have to get from a farmer's market or a secondhand distributor. Omega-3s are huge. You're getting dramatically large amounts of them from good quality eggs, and you could even buy the omega-3 eggs if you don't have access to pasture-raised eggs, okay? That would be better than getting the regular Walmart eggs, okay? Free run, free range eggs, I probably should have said this. Free run and free range kind of just mean they were able to run around, so don't really prioritize that. Prioritize pasture-raised, and second best would probably be omega-3 eggs, which just means that they were fed flax seeds, which converted the omega-6 into omega-3s in their flesh. We don't know. This is where the trust comes in, because you don't know how much flaxseed they've been fed. They could have been fed flaxseed once, and now they're omega-3. But overall, try to get either pasture-raised or maybe second best omega-3 if you can't get them from a farmer's market yourself. So, omega-3 profile, hugely beneficial for inflammation levels and reducing inflammation levels. Many people will do this, and there's no mass gainer, let alone many other supplements besides fish oils, that can provide so many benefits, right? Especially with inflammation. So turn your eyes open to the best mass gainer shake of raw eggs. Okay, if you want more videos on this, perhaps more concise videos on this, I will make them shorter. And I'm going to put more videos out on my experience with the 10 egg a day diet. Beyond that, thank you for watching. Leave me your questions. Go to my website, romanoketo.com. Go to my Instagram. Go to all that stuff. Subscribe to me right now. Like the video. Peace.